and yes, someone in chat was like, "Are we gluing the jars to the ball?" And I'm like, "Well, why wouldn't we? Frankly, that seems like a completely reasonable thing to do. Completely reasonable."
Yeah, if I could take my random junk and glue it to my walls with like minimal effort, I absolutely would.
I have got to say again though, the sound that this mallet makes is so
good.
satisfying. So satisfying.
Oh, hey, I can get a chest down. A couple of chests.
Woohoo! I've got 3 more of the component kits, by the way, and 2 more circuit boards.
I guess if I hadn't made this smaller chest, I would have said we could make a large chest, but...
Oh well.
Smaller chests are useful. We can put them on cars anyway.
Ah, cool. Mobile. I like it. What is that? Oh, pigment flower. I guess for some dyeing or something. Someone in my chat just made the interesting observation that perhaps when the players are far enough away from any player structure, they lose collision to save on memory.
Yeah, I absolutely could see that.
Yeah.
The easy way to check that would be if we walk away from the worm. If he's still inside the base. Yeah, that's true, actually,
because they don't spawn here.
Yeah. Because the walks, they kind of spawn wherever the heck they want. But those guys are aquatic almost exclusively.
What?
Okay. Well, we should go out on some adventures, get some more electronic bits.
Okay.
My inventory is...
Sounds like a plan.
Cleaner.
My inventory
I made
is
the chest, but there's no room for it.
The sound of that construction bot is making me fantastic.
They did a good job with the construction bots. They sound so cheerful. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
So I've got a stupid amount of fuel or oil sitting in my inventory, but I can't get rid of it. At least not yet. Because I want to get us a car. I guess we could... Maybe we can make a car.
Yeah, sure.
You've got two tires there.
Yeah, I've got 2.
What do we need for an... Oh, no. We need one more electronic piece. And
I just put some into the chest.
Yeah. Let's see. So we're currently sitting at 4. So we need one more.
Okay.
Well, I guess let's just head north. I actually have no idea which direction would be north. For me, north is relative to the gas station.
Is the sun actually moving? I haven't spent enough time watching or trying to track the sun, or whether it just kind of switches between a couple of static positions. So I can't tell by looking at. And besides, this is a different planet. Doesn't necessarily mean that the sun rises and sets in the same directions as it will for us.
Okay. I just kind of collect corn as I go so that when I come back and I can just feed the walks. Not have to worry about starvation. I'm finding a lot of walk steaks. I might have to give up on this whole vegetarian business.
But yeah, you started to telling me about that. So, what is the deal with America and meat at the moment?
Oh, well, I mean, just a lot of our meatpacking plants have zero set up for, like, social distancing, and they were paying people to come in regardless of whether or not they felt sick. So now everybody's sick.
Ooh, wow,
Yeah.
seriously? In a pandemic?
Yeah.
My God.
If that's your reaction, don't look at how America is handling this, because it's spooky. But yeah, so that was.
I'm not an idiot. Of course, industry is going to be like, look, at a certain point, just come in, don't care. It would be lovely to imagine a world where that didn't happen, but you work with the world you've got. Don't act like the world is the world you want, because that's just how you set yourself up for disaster. But it's a food packing plant.
Yep. I mean,
I can imagine it if it was like a car manufacturing plant. It's like, look, come in. It doesn't matter. It can't live on metal for long. Just do your work, okay? You're gonna be on your own. You're just managing 8 different machines. It's fine. But a food packing plant, though.
Yeah, and I don't entirely know if it's like much of a vector. Like the food itself is much of a vector. But at the same time, like most food packing plants are very tightly knit.
Yeah, well, that's why I picked like a car manufacturing place, because that's largely automated. You only need like
true.
a handful of people in an entire factory to manage all of the machines that are just doing their thing. Whereas to a food packing plant, I'm assuming is a little bit more.
Yeah, it's like shoulder to shoulder, from what I know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's awful. Right.
But yeah,
which
I
building have you gone to?
I am in the first big one. Let's see. So to your right, the really tall one to your right that you're running towards right now. I'm halfway up the staircase, clearing out the bots.
There we go. I'm employing the walk backwards and jump trick.
It works really well. Yeah, the other thing with vegetarianism is just I went to Disneyland like right before quarantine started, and had a lot of vegetarian food there just because it was available, and it was so good that I was like, I kind of like this better than regular meat, so I guess I'm just gonna eat more vegetarian.
Do you mean
like
meat replacements or just vegetarian food?
I don't know if they're particularly available where you are, but Beyond Burger and Impossible Burger are both actually really good.
Okay. I've not tried Beyond Burger or anything like that. I must confess, but
they might be American brands. I don't know.
There've been times where like I don't eat meat to eat meat, and sometimes I'll just have largely vegetarian meals just because. So yeah, I can totally get that. There are times where I'll go for a while without having meat just because it isn't particularly necessary. I mean, one of the big things with meat for me is it's nutrient dense. So
yeah,
if I'm hungry, that's generally a good thing to go for.
That is one thing I have been struggling with a little bit, is like I am definitely hungrier more often, being like, oh man, I could really go for a blank. And it's usually something meat laden. And I'm just like, well, but I don't have any. So I guess
there are lots of other options as well, like seeds and stuff like that. Again, super nutrient dense. But with like meat and specifically the way that I typically eat, which is seldom, but large calorific meals. Fat and meat is a pretty much a staple.
I'm more of a 2 kind of medium-ish meals per day person with maybe some snacks. I don't really do the large meal thing well, because I think
try not to snack, though I'm going to be honest, since the whole lockdown thing, a lot of the ways that the world used to work for me has changed. But under normal operation, things are a bit different. I think that's probably true of everyone, though.
Yeah. I had more or less cut snacking out of my diet in an effort to start losing weight, and was ordering groceries for delivery recently. I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to get a giant thing of goldfish. This is not good for me, but, like, I just need a little bit of decadence.
See, I can only assume that that's some sort of, like, candy or something like that, because...
Yeah, it's
on the surface of it, I was just thinking, so you just like a huge thing of goldfish. Yeah, sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, that's great. What snacks do you eat that could be easily misconstrued as something
jelly babies?
Wrong? Yeah.
I mean, someone once pointed out, it's like, you do realize how horrific this is, though. It's not like Monster Munch or anything like that, or penguins. It's literal small people that you're eating.
So they do look like babies?
Oh yeah. That is literally it. Even in the advertising, the babies are like dancing around and being really happy. And then
That's
you
kind
just
of
devour
horrible.
them. And it's like, yeah. The moment you stop and think about it, it's like, wow, there's probably a reason why all of my characters in roguelikes are cannibals, and I don't have any issue with it. I've been trained to this. Britain has been preparing for a food crisis for a long, long time.
Yeah, I guess we have Sour Patch Kids over here, so that's not actually that outlandish.
Can't find any more chests. I think we've looted.
Yeah,
this
I think we cleared that one out.
So. Hoi! Thunk.
Yeah, I think our direct comparison would be gummy bears.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow, we have a lot of these big buildings nearby. Just pick one and go. I'm right behind you.
Okay. I'll just go to this one on the hill then, with the robots outside, because we can harvest them as we go.
So jelly babies are far chewier than gummy bears.
Yeah, they're super gelatinous.
Now, I gotta ask, do they have like the monstrously sized ones, or are they all just generally kind of small?
No, I don't think there's any comparison to the crazy big gummy bears that you can get.
Okay.
Like,
I had one
not
friend
even
that got
close.
a crazy big gummy bear in college and ate it slowly over the course of, like, I want to say it was a whole month, and it was just the grossest thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, nothing sounds more utterly, like, alarmingly gross to me than the idea of eating a gummy treat over that long of a period of time.
Like, maybe if you refrigerated it and, like, cut it apart piece by piece, that would be okay. But no,
yeah,
he just,
I guess
like,
that would
had
be
it
like just
out.
having a bowl of jelly.
He just had it out, and, like, after a certain point, I think he gave up because it was starting to get dusty, and I was just like, ugh.
Oh, no. No, that's so wrong. That is such a disgusting idea. Why? Again,
No. I had the same thing with the, they're like novelty oversized jawbreakers that you could get in the US that were like the size of a fist or bigger. And I assume jawbreakers are at least somewhat common knowledge, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have jawbreakers over here as well.
But yeah, so I had a friend that had one of those and was, yeah, I think that took longer because those things are so large and dense. And it just looked so disgusting by the time said friend was like even halfway done with it. I was just like, I would never. I like small ones. That's it. I don't even like small ones anymore.
There's a point where you have to say, yeah, as a novelty, this is fun, but as an actual food, no. It's like things like, when people buy things like cannabis absinthe or something like that. It's like, yeah, you got that clearly as a joke. You didn't actually get it to drink.
Would the cannabis even really change much of the flavor? I guess it must.
No, not really. I mean, it's just really tastes strongly of aniseed, really. That's probably the closest. It's not quite aniseed tasting, but it's probably the closest equivalent.
Because I guess I will admit, I've never had anything with cannabis in it. Or absinthe. So I truly have zero context for how that sort of thing would be.
It is more or less just a novelty, though. It
Yeah.
really is
Well,
just a novelty.
You say that, but that's practically a lifestyle where I live. CBD oil became like the thing to consume over the last year.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, got something for you? Because I think you need this more than I do.
Okay, garment.
That's
box.
clothing. Eventually. We gotta get the tailor bot first.
A dress box. Fantastic.
But eventually when we do, then you can not look like you just came out of a fire.
I mean, it is what happened, so it's fair.
It's true. I'm still looking for pants. That's my one thing that I actually have not found. I've found, like, a silly amount of shoes. I feel like we were doing a supply run to Adidas or something, and picked up the robot fixing job just as a bonus.
I just love this idea that in the apocalypse all that's left is shoes.
It really is, like, supposedly there's hats, but I don't know. Alright, well, express method. Gosh, now that I know that I don't know if you can actually fall from die from falling damage, but now that I know it's not strictly lethal from one of these buildings, I'm just taking the fast way down.
Yeah. Dunk. Right. Where do you want to go to next?
Let's see.
I'm currently carrying. Let's have a look. 5 component kits, 5 circuit boards, 3 batteries.
Let's see. I've got 2 component kits and 5 circuits. 5 circuits. So we could feasibly make a car.
Okay, fantastic. And to Belias in my chat, who's just asking, said that they're new to the stream, but what is the game and we're going to get it? This is still technically... Well, actually, has this released?
So Scrap Mechanic has been out for like 4 years now. Survival mode comes out within either the next 24 hours or sooner. I don't know if it's a midnight or a...
Yeah, it probably isn't a midnight release, though.
Yeah, probably not. But
it might be. It does depend. But yeah, you can... Like, we're playing in survival mode, which isn't strictly in the game yet. But it's like a day away.
Yep. But if you want to pick it up early and practice your car making skills, that's a thing you can do.
Yes. And it's a thing that is highly recommended, actually.
Yeah, honestly, it's my favorite part of the game.
I had lots of fun with this.
The survival stuff is fun, but I want to make more vehicles. But the resource costs are steep.
Well, that might be balanced, though, as they get more chance to observe how people use the game.
Yeah, well, I think it would be perfectly balanced if they had more automation. My biggest grump with this game truly is just how long it takes to get more gasoline.
Yeah.
Because I would gladly make big, crazy, tree-munching rigs if it didn't require like 10 minutes of fuel gathering to get 10 minutes of fuel.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. You would imagine in a game like this, though, that is the end goal. Simply because, I mean, it's kind of the whole point, is that you build crazy contraptions, you know, the crazy machines in order to achieve stuff and over-engineer and, you know, basically building Pythagoras switches in order to do the most basic task.
Let's see. People wondering, this is an Australian studio that made this.
And just for those wondering in my stream, as per usual, when I'm collabing with someone, I'm a little bit less
Chatty.
chat engagey. But I am noticing all of the resubs and gift subs, and thank you so much to everyone who is supporting the channel. But when you're doing a collab, you can't necessarily know when the other person is going to be talking to chat, and so you end up just talking over each other, and it gets
bad. At that point, we might as well just be not in Discord with each other, and it's just like,
Yeah. I've got so much respect for the people who've got such good Discord discipline that they can, like, they've got push to talk on, and they can have 2 conversations and they never talk over each other. I'm like, how do you do that?
I don't know.
Actually, how?
I had a friend when I was starting my channel who could just seamlessly switch between the two, with the one exception of every once in a while he'd get his wires crossed and he would mute himself while trying to talk to us, and oh gosh, you got friends. Careful.
That's fine.
You look like you're fine. But he muted himself when trying to talk to us, and unmuted himself when he was trying to talk to chat. And it was great 99% of the time, but that 1% of the time was chaos and confusion.
But that would actually be, in my opinion, that would add to the entertainment rather than taking away from it.
That would be funny as long as it's infrequent. But I've definitely had people. I streamed once with a guy that was streaming on YouTube, and he would thank people for every singular YouTube subscription, and he was getting a lot of them, and so it was hard to get a word in edgewise or even a conversation. It was tragic because I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, when in a collab, it is, you just kind of assume a different mode of operation, really. But I do want to say thank you. I do notice it. Sorry, I'm not as chatty as I usually am. I am noticing all of the channel points and all of that. On the topic of channel points, though, do you use those much, Bonder?
A little bit. And admittedly, after this, I will have to deal with some things. So I don't use them for much, just because trying to actually fulfill channel point rewards seems like it would be time-consuming. We should not have walked into these woods. I am actually lost now.
I'm just watching you T-posing everywhere to great hilarity. Oh wow! Oh poor Walks. I feel bad. Oh well. Delicious steaks. Okay. Well, let's find our way out then.
I think we're good. Yep.
You good?
Yep. Just keep heading in the direction you're heading. So we're going the right way. It's just a matter of the forest was kind of dense.
Yeah. The moment you lose sight of the sky is usually all kind of navigation goes out the window.
Anyway, so as far as channel points go, I for the longest time had no good redemption options, because what the heck do you even do that isn't going to take a lot of time? And I specifically cannot read the highlighted chats, so I had to crank up the cost for that, because it was just like somebody would highlight their message and I'd be like, cool, I can't read that. Is he there? He is there. So yeah, these things just lose collision and the cows wander off when we're away. Funny.
Yeah. That's interesting, because our little dude, he's like, no, this is fine. I live here now.
But yeah, so my inevitable solution to the whole channel point thing, seeing as people were getting hundreds of thousands, was to 30,000 I do push-ups.
Okay.
So effectively 30,000 channel points for 30 push-ups as kind of an effort to do some fitness stuff while in quarantine. And then eventually I added Ring Fit as well as kind of a bonus, which I am behind on by 2, because it keeps getting redeemed on days that I can't do it when I forget.
Okay.
But that has helped keep people's channel points down and relatively keeps people happy, because I guess everybody just really likes to hear me whisper counting as I'm doing push-ups.
I've kept my channel point things to strictly funny stuff, generally speaking. I mean, I've got one for your naming games, so if I'm playing a game where I can rename people,
that would
then
make
I
sense.
just go through the list kind of sequentially, and it keeps everything there, because it'll carry over. It only gets taken off the list when I mark it as complete. So, my name list now is hundreds of names long, which is super great if I play something like Dwarf Fortress, where I'm going to need hundreds of names. But I've got other stuff like More, where they can extend the stream by like 30 minutes or something like that. But I've limited how many of those can be redeemed. So like you can only ever redeem 4 of them per stream. So it's like I can do a 12-hour stream without noticing I'm doing it. So when I usually aim for a 6-hour stream, 2 extra hours is nothing.
I guess you do less frequent streams, so that's a little bit more possible.
Yeah. Well, even when I was doing Final Fantasy frequently, I would find like, oh wow, I need to stop streaming Final Fantasy. I'm getting no other work done.
Yeah, Final Fantasy, I loaded that game up for the first time, played it for the first couple hours, and I was like, this is going to eat my life. I'm fine with this. Nice calendar.
I've got. Thank you. Got one more stream to do because like there was a period of like almost 10 days where I couldn't stream, and just life was crazy around the whole lockdown stuff. But yeah, I'm savoring that last stream. I've enjoyed it so much.
It is probably one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in the middle of it being kind of mad. How long did it take you to figure out you have to switch your character to manage aggro?
Probably 2 streams, something like that. I started to get, like, initially I was just using one character over and over and over. But yeah, you do, as you say, need to switch your characters to manage aggro, and definitely to work on their like proficiencies with weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just it took me a little while to get it because you spend so long controlling like one character or just barely 2.
Yeah.
And so like it just hadn't clicked yet, and I kept getting wrecked by random mid bosses and other things, and being like, it just felt like there was something wrong with the game, and the answer is yeah, it was wrong with how I was playing. But I spent an amount of, I think it was chapter 7, just being mad because the game felt wrong to me somehow. And then eventually I had 3 people and I could just switch between them freely. I'm like, oh, this is what felt wrong. That's what they did. I get it now. Let's see. So I can make the engine.
Okay.
We're gonna need some more beeswax, I think. Maybe not actually. How much beeswax am I rolling?
Bunch in the chest, I think.
Yeah.
Let me see, I need to find something to do with all this corn. I'm gonna go and feed the woks. Also, here's extra 2 beeswax at my feet. Cool, in case you need it.
Yeah, because tires require a fair bit.
But yeah, I've really been enjoying the remake. I think they've done a fantastic job of it. I'm not gonna lie, there was a bit of me that was apprehensive about how they were going to remake it and whether I would enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the original. But yeah, the answer is a resounding yes.
I don't think I've ever finished. Well, no, I've finished Final Fantasy X and X-2.
Right.
But I had only ever played as far as the Final Fantasy VII remake plot. Like, when I first played Final Fantasy VII, I stopped exactly where the remake stops. And
oh, right, so it's just at the end of Disc 1 then.
Yeah, so when everybody was just like, it's going to be too short, not enough content, I'm like, what? No, that's the extent of my experience with Final Fantasy VII. I think that's going to be fine. And it was.
It has amused me, though, with a couple of people have been a little bit put off by the length of this. And I do get that, because certain things which were kind of, you'd encounter them and then you'd never hear about them again for the rest of the game, were instead you were investing hours of your time on in the remake. But that's something that I love about it, is that it's really fleshed out the world, and oh my god, the amount that they make you care about characters. And that was the worst thing for me, is I knew what was going to come, and I convinced myself at some point, I was like, no, it's fine. Surely they're not going to make me care about these characters and then do what I think they're going to do. No, clearly they've decided to take the narrative in a different direction, and they haven't. And I'm glad that they didn't, but damn, that was brutal.
It was.
I spent so much time saying, you dare, Sony, how dare you make me care about these people, knowing what you're going to do to them, you swines.
Okay. Got engine. Now let's... what else I can make with this.
Sorry, I just started zoning out as I was just sat here, just staring up at this painting, thinking, oh, maybe the robots aren't fighting humans because they feel that they're a threat to the crops. Maybe the robots are fighting humans because humans are now the crops.
I mean, that's an option. What should it cost to make a big boy?
There's so many wonderful ways that careless programming and the setup of parameters in an AI could just accidentally end the human race.
I mean, I'd say we've still got a good 20 years before that starts getting... Well, no, I guess, like, nuclear...
We could totally be there right now. It's just, I think at the moment, there's not enough hubris yet. We're not comfortable enough with technology for that to accidentally happen. But then, that's the thing, is the moment there is a strong AI, that's managed by anything but the most strict of scientific kind of lab environments, that's when things are going to get strange. The moment people are just like casually, using strong AI to like, I don't know, I'm going to make an AI that's going to remove copyright stuff out of like online media or something. Yeah, I could just use a weak AI custom built that its scope is only this video platform, but that'll take too much time. I'm just going to use a general purpose strong AI for this because that's so much faster, and I've got a party to be at in like 3 hours. That's where things are going to happen. When we're so confident that we know what we're doing, that we don't put enough thought into what we're doing. All of a sudden, the strong AI is like...
I don't think the copyright AI is going to go Skynet on us. I could do irreparable harm to anything that isn't Disney, but...
Well, that's the thing. Is that's why I said general purpose, kind of the scope of the AI. Because if you've got a scope for it, like, this AI only understands, YouTube or whatever, then, it's not realistically going to do any damage. But it's when you start using like a strong AI, something that can think outside the box, it's capable of lateral thinking, because then you give it a simple command like, remove this copyright content. If you haven't scoped it, it's like, okay, so nothing is allowed to have this copyright content. That includes everything now. And suddenly this AI just like is quietly building a fleet of nanobots to just rewire people's brains, because I know you can't remember that song. You're allowed to listen to it and enjoy it, but you're not allowed to remember it because now you're infringing copyright.
Here, I'm
crazy stuff.
I'm gonna dump car parts in front of you. Seeing as I've already built plenty of vehicles. Well, we only have so many resources. You might as well be in charge.
Right.
Let's see, bearings.
I am going to do my best not to engineer this. I will try so hard, but I make no promises at all.
If it is an actual problem, I will just get fed up and make my own car.
That sounds good. I'll just remind myself that I actually do know how to do this first, I guess, because it has been a long bloody time.
Oh, right. Before I burn through all my scrap. We need an actual seat. That wasn't so bad, actually.
Yeah?
Well, I don't expect comfort out of this vehicle.
Do we not have any oil for suspension?
No, well, we might be able to make suspensions. I almost never bother with suspensions. I like the rough ride, but
Oh, fair enough.
I'm just lazy. Like half the time, it just doesn't even seem necessary for what I'm doing. The main problem currently with suspensions is you need more upgrade kits, component kits, to increase their tension. So currently we'd have some pretty loose suspension, all things considered.
Oh, I need to be designing this for two-seater as well. I forget, how big are the seats in dimensions, like the footprint? Oh, bigger than I was expecting. Okay.
There you go. There's both of them.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much. Oh, that's quite ditty.
Look how it's a wooden spatula on the side. Oh, man. Whoever made this thing had a laugh.
I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, and it's a shirt. Wait, that's a nice shirt. Why can't I wear that shirt? Okay, maybe it's not that nice of a shirt.
That moment when you're jealous of a seat made out of spatulas. That's when you know that the apocalypse has begun.
I was watching the teaser trailer for... Was it Dead Island 3, I think? Which... I don't even know when that's coming out. But it was effectively like somebody hops out of a car and steals shoes from a zombie. And I was just like, this is going to be one of those games, ain't it? But it was, you know, the guy was shopping around from zombie to zombie looking for designer brand shoes. And it's just like, this... It seems like the wrong priority.
Look, dude, footwear's important.
I mean, it is, but he was going for the fancy stuff. You want, like, a nice, comfy pair of boots.
How do you tell the orientation of a bearing?
If you connect it to a seat or an engine.
Okay, and then at that point, I'll know, right? Okay, that's cool.
Yep. Up until then, they have no orientation, and they will just spin.